Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? What up, 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 what up? Nah. What's up? Welcome to Sports with Ray. I'm your host, Ray Rob. Hope everybody had a good week and everything. Like I said, I'm gonna give y'all weekly heat. Just putting y'all up to things that I'm just kind of looking at, my takes on certain things. So, this week is very interesting because, we got the NBA free agency period coming up. So it starts at Thursday at 4 p.m. And so it's a lot of things that's been happening as far as they had a certain amount of time. They had till June 29th for a lot of players to opt in or opt out under contracts. I know Russell Westbrook, he opted in 47 million plus. So he'll be with the Lakers for the time being. Bradley Beal opted out. He becomes an unrestricted free agent. I know James Harden, he opted out, but he's looking to stay with the Philadelphia 76ers. So, he may lower the cap. Because I want to say his opt-in was for about 46, but he opted out and may be able to get a 2 to 3 year deal, or that he may sign for a lower value, but stretch out that'll allow them to kind of expand on the roster as they have title hopes after that big flame out and him not playing well in the playoffs once again. But so saw some things on him. It looks like he might be in shape. The one thing about that I feel about with sports or anything, because sometimes things can be harsh, but it's a difference between attacking somebody, and people, and I know this is the era of going too far and trolling and all types of things like that, and also just having constructive criticism. And the criticism for him was that he wasn't in shape since he got injured in the playoffs the year prior. And just to stand corrected, he opted out. He declined a $47.4 million option. But he also declined a 2-year, $50 million, a 2-year, $100 million extension in Houston. So he's going to get his money. He'll get what it's worth. So I'm not going to question his business acumen. He declined Brooklyn's extension. So whether you may like his tactics or not, he's still kind of having the upper hand. The biggest news, of course, was Kyrie opting in after all that was going on. The crazy thing about that is I was kind of looking at that, and after a while, it was like it was just something to make news cycles. I'm not saying there isn't any validity to what was going on. I know you don't need to me, as an outsider, you didn't need inside reports to know that locker room didn't look on the greatest of terms with all the instability that they've had over the last 3 years since Kyrie and KD have been there, and it's mostly due to them not being available. When they're available, they're fine together. It just hasn't happened enough, and it's not acceptable. No matter what the issue is, 3 years, you got one playoff series win, and you got swept. So they need to get that together. But, I just seeing all the stories, I seen back and forth with him and Stephen A. I don't even really care about that. And then, I like Kyrie as far as a hoop player. I don't know them personally. And then a lot of things that Stephen A. does I wouldn't say I like it, because I do feel like he was personally attacking him. You can't, when you personally attack, I feel like this, you can't really personally attack somebody. And then when they get offended, and then you try and not retract, but try to just change what you said when it's a personal, you didn't bring the same energy for a lot of other people. And you may feel differently about him, and some of those discrepancies may have been valid, but just the venom and how it came out, it didn't come out as being objective no matter what you say. So, and I know they have a job to report and everything, but it's different when it gets personal. And that's always been my thing with media. It gets personal. Most people are out of emotion. Just because they get paid to do their job doesn't mean emotion isn't tied into a lot of these situations that happen. So, but he opted in. We'll see what goes. That doesn't mean he may not still be traded. Let's see what happens. Hopefully they can get that solidified, because, you want to see the best teams play. These playoffs were pretty good, I'm not going to lie, but you really want to see the best teams play healthy as possible. I know PJ Tucker's being courted by a lot of people. Bobby Portis, who was a glue guy. He opted out of his contract, and he'll be an unrestricted free agent for Milwaukee. Milwaukee missed P.J. Tucker, and they'll definitely miss Bobby Portis if they don't bring him back. But, I mean, I know that's how business is, but you have to replace those people with comparable parts if that's going to happen. So, I did see Melton did get traded to Melton, DeAnthony Melton from Memphis. He got traded to Philadelphia. That's a great get because their bench was very thin. He's more than a 3 and D guy. That dude can hoop. Plays great D. Can play the 1 or the 2. Plays great defense. Can shoot. He got all around game for real. I also did see Alec Burke and Nerlens Noel got traded from New York to Detroit, trying to free up some space for Jalen Brunson, who the Knicks are trying to make a push for. I know he's supposed to visit some other teams, but they're the ones that's in the lead. So we'll see how that goes. A lot of people have their complaints saying what the Knicks are, what are they going to do and everything. But, you have to start from somewhere. I mean, they're not too far off. I mean, they did drop off, but you just got to try and have some stability. I remember when when Brooklyn, after, trained all those first rounders for Paul Pierce and KG, everybody was kind of saying the same thing about Brooklyn. Everybody said the same thing about Memphis. And then you saw Brooklyn got their core together with D'Angelo, the Fro, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. They built that culture with Kenny Atkinson. They made Brooklyn attractive. Before they made the playoffs, nobody was talking about Brooklyn. Everybody thought they was dysfunctional. That's what made Kyrie and them, it looked attractive. It looked different. So New York has to start from somewhere. And then also, John Wall is going to buy out. He's going to get bought out by Houston for, I think they're cutting his salary down from 47 to 42. And then he is going to sign with the LA Clippers. Ooh. And so I see that being a very great move to me, honestly. See some people saying they didn't know if they like it. John Wall hasn't been healthy. But, I mean, what actually happened was John Wall, he played not this past season, but the season before. He was productive. And that was his first year coming off of multiple injuries. And then he was told to sit out and get paid. Shout out to him because that's the ultimate hustle. But so he's probably going to be, hopefully for him, this will be his last break that he has to take. He wasn't being a malcontent or anything. They just wanted to play Jalen Green. They wanted to get Porter in a little more, Christopher. So they wanted to get the young guys in. But Boston should have, Boston and the Clippers. I was saying this talking with my homeboy Head. When you got dominant wings that can score, you need somebody that can get them the ball. They need somebody to set up the offense. One thing John Wall can do, sometimes he may dribble the air out the ball, but it seems like he's gotten a little better, is he can get you the rock. And he plays very good defense, you know what I'm saying? And then, so you think about it, now they talk about whether he'll start, which is crazy to me. I mean, nothing against Reggie Jackson. I don't even know. I'm wondering, is Reggie going to be happy to go back into a backup role, or is Reggie going to want to leave? I mean, is it bigger than the championship? If Reggie wants to stay, then that's perfectly fine. Reggie is cool. He's not better than John Wall, than them at the apex. John Wall has shown, when healthy, that he can carry a team. He can will them into the playoffs. Kawhi and PG are going to get some of the easier buckets that they've ever gotten. And that's going to lessen their load. They're going to lessen the load and pressure on John Wall, who's usually had to do it with himself, or Bradley Beal, which is the ironic thing is earlier that Bradley Beal was off injured early in his career, and then John Wall, towards the later stint in Washington, he got injured. So it's going to be interesting to see, but, free agency starts on Thursday, June 30th. A lot of a lot of things are going to happen overnight. Things are happening that we don't know of. we don't get the juice like, Woj and them get. But it's going to be interesting. There's going to be certain changes. It's going to be two big changes. And I'm interested to see what they are. I just feel like they're going to be two big changes. I feel like I'm just wondering if Kyrie's still going to be there and if Russ is still going to be in LA. Because it seems like they don't want Russ. And if they could find a way to get rid of him, they would. But I understand him. He still want to take his money, then they'll have to figure it out. Even though I feel like everybody can figure it out. Sometimes there are teams that ain't perfect matches, but you can make things work when you sacrifice. That's what teams do. Teams have to sacrifice. You work on you get the strong suits, and you put your players in the best position to win, and they should be able to be willing to work. You define roles and let them know what they're going to do, and let them excel in their roles. That means all the players. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in this free agency. With me not having a team or anything like that, I just sit back and I just look. I see a lot of the crazy stuff and the hearsay and all that stuff, but I just bypass that and I just stick to what I know. So let's just move on too. So let's go to my favorite torture chamber. Pastime, NFL. So let's just real quick. Of course, I always bring in the old state talk as well. But, I've seen a lot of good things when it comes to Justin Fields. Showing how he's taking command. The NFL is just so finicky when it comes to quarterbacks. The leash just gets shorter and shorter. And then you have situations that happen. You have players that speed up the process for other people. And so I feel like if you're not a strong franchise, you may fall. So everybody falls suit for whatever the play is, as I like to say. Whatever's popular, whatever's working. What Joe Burrow did, tearing his ACL in midway through the season, then coming back and in the second season leading his team to the Super Bowl and close to winning, that just doesn't really happen. But he was the number one. That's what the number one pick is a show. So you ain't got to. To show that is the best case scenario, besides winning the Super Bowl. But it doesn't always have to be that. You just have to show that you can play. And then, so I'm talking about the guy that essentially made. Well, no, that wasn't him. That was Dwayne Haskins. Rest in peace. But also, Joe Burrow left Ohio State because it was too many quarterbacks. Him and Tate Martell. It was stacked up. One time, Joe Burrow was conceivably there with Braxton Miller, Cardell Jones, J.T. Barrett, and then was competing with Martell and Haskins. That's a lot of talent. Like in your 3 years, because he spent 2 at LSU. So, but I've heard a lot of good things about Justin improving. So it makes a difference when you're able to have the whole offseason knowing that you are the leader, get the full reps that you need. Instead of just starting against the A-ball and then having a coach that does not prepare you to succeed and will say, "Well, I'm going to go down my way." But it's like your way wasn't working. And not to say you have to change who you are, but one thing about being a great leader, to me, one of the qualities, because you can be a great leader in different ways, but one good quality is to be able to adapt and adjust to put whoever's under you or whoever's following you in the best position to succeed. Why would you put them in a position to fail? And then kind of make it look like, it's them, but they didn't get the repetition. So, you've been hearing good things out of the OTAs and the mini camps that he's been doing well. He's been taking command. You can tell he's looking different in the second year now that he's been in the NFL for 1 year. But that's what most quarterbacks look like. So that's a good positive sign to have. But at the same time, to me, we'll just have to see. I'm very confident that he can succeed. I don't feel like they've put him in the best position, but they almost had to revamp, and everybody says a rebuild. But the thing about the NFL is I don't think the talent level is as wide as, let's say, the NBA, because Cincinnati can show you, like Cincinnati, they were the fifth pick in the draft, and they went to the Super Bowl the next year. The NFL, you can do that with no problem. Well, not no problem. Well, not any problem, but it's very feasible. It's feasible to go from last to first. The majority of the games, just like in most sports, the majority of the games are close. Usually in football, what happens is there are certain mistakes that bad teams make that good teams minimize when it really counts, and or you may not have a quarterback, or when you need somebody to get you that first down on third down, make the sack, get that deflection, make things harder. Somebody that'll be able to make a play. It just, the better teams are better coached and well positioned to be successful. But what happens sometimes is with younger teams, if you start off good, if you start off with good habits, you'll keep the good habits. And so sometimes a team can start off 3 or 4-0, and then they can start to build it. They get their confidence, and then they'll go. I mean, there's also situations teams start off 4-1, 5-2, and then they'll lose 7 straight. So, I'm cautious. I'm hopeful. I'm not gonna lie. I'm hopeful. I mean, we changed our defense from a 3-4 to a 4-3. 4-3, for people that don't know, is 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs. I mean, we did get 2 rookies that should start, which will make a significant improvement in our defense. I'm not sure if we're going to keep Robert Quinn. We'll definitely see. But we'll just hope. All I can do is hope. I mean, they're predicting that we're going to finish last. I mean, we may not. I mean, I don't see anybody that got significantly better in our division. I know Green Bay is Green Bay, but losing Devontae, to me, is going to hurt. I know Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, but sometimes that, with great quarterbacks, that just makes them more dangerous because you don't know who is going to be the number one target. But one thing that you do know is he can, like, if it works out, somebody will become a number one target, at least to take the stress off. So it's going to be interesting to see. Go Bears. I think that's a pirate. That might not even be a bear, but it's all good. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. That's just me. I'm just sighing. I'm just sighing. And just hoping for the best. Just quickly, the last thing I just really want to talk about, just kind of looking at recruits. Like I said, O State has had a great couple of weeks in the 2023 class. Got another one this week. And cornerback Kayan Lee from Ellenwood, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. The 4-star, very highly touted. We know that secondary, the defense was a thing of an issue. And what I like about Ryan Day and company, they addressed issues head on. They don't play. They are going head on with anything that's the problem. So it's a lot of talent that, it's Ohio State, so they're going to get a lot of talent. So essentially, and with the new defense, they're going to get it straightened out. The cream of the crop will survive. The others will probably, because in this day and era, if you don't win, you don't want to stick it out. Some people don't want to waste a career. They're going to hit the transfer portal. So it's going to be it's going to be survival of the fittest. They're going to bring in the best talent. So you can be great this year, but if you just average, or if you just playing around, just please know somebody will be there next year to take your busy. But they'll take your spot though. So shout out to Ohio State getting another bomb recruit. I know still more to come. I know the season's a little bit less. It's about 2 months away. I'm excited for it. I always like that fall when it kind of sets in. A little bit after Labor Day, when you kind of when the new shows hit and everything. A little bit before daylight savings times and everything. I love that time. Fall is my favorite time of the year. And also summer when it's not 100 degrees. Because we all know in the majority of the areas of the country, gas is $250 a gallon, and it's 100 degrees. So we don't know what's going on. Besides that, it's not. It's past en fuego. It's inflation. But you know, what can you say besides just cry on the inside and just pay? Just pay. Even the Ubers is higher. You used to take an Uber 5 to 10 minutes away, it'd be like $5. Now it's about $14, $15. Life's real out here. But I just got deep in thought right there. It just touched the soul. But yeah, that's just my recap. It was a quick recap. Also shout out to Serena. I know she lost in the first round. I was watching her and she was up in that third set 5-4. Then I turned it off because I kind of knew it was going to happen. When she's arguably to me the greatest athlete that's in our lifetime. And then, she's been unbeatable, but age and attrition and injuries just maybe she's regular. At least at this point. You never know. I mean, you've been dominant for 20 plus years. 20 plus years at the Wimbledon. Like, that's her. So, to see somebody who I don't think was as good as her, as far as especially in history, be able to kind of overtake her. I mean, you want her to get that extra. I want her to get that 24th, so she can be the all-time singles champion ever. But, MJ ain't got 11. They call him the greatest. Bron don't got 11 rings at Russell. They call him the greatest. So, she the greatest. To me, it's not even close. But, yeah, Wimbledon's on. And then, of course, you got the triumvirate. Never seen where you have, three people that could be considered the greatest of all time in the same sport, playing the same era between Djokovic, Rafi, Nadal, and, of course, Federer, who, Benjamin Button, like, he just gets younger with time, but, they're all 20 plus, 20 apiece plus, and so, yeah, it's a great time. It's just a great, it's a I don't want to call it a dead time. It's the calm before the storm. There's been a lot of heat going on, there's a lot of sports activities been going on, and so now it's kind of just simmering down so everybody can get their summer in with the mimosas and the hookah and the brunch specials, I live in Atlanta, so, that's almost like easy like Sunday morning. But y'all check that out too. That is, look, some mimosas and some kind of brunch before it gets to 100 degrees if you want to go outside. Check it out. That's my suggestion. Definitely want to thank everybody for checking out the Ray. I was going to say the Ray Report. Look at me, getting the two. And it's the Ray Rob Report, first of all, but this is Sports with Ray. Be on the lookout for the Ray Rob Report. Do have a couple interviews coming soon. All of this is going to be accessible on my YouTube page, also on my Linktree. You can my handles for social media: Ray Rob, REIROBB 97. That is Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. You can catch the Ray Rob Report Facebook page. Please join that. I'll make sure I keep any updates I may have or anything. I may just come on and post something every now and again if I may have any kind of predictions. Boxing took a little chill pill for a while. I know some events will be coming up in the next few weeks, but they went hard. They went hard from like April to the middle of May. It was like 7 straight weeks of nonstop fighting, and basically it was 8 out of 9. That was the best week to week boxing that I've seen in a long time. And they need to grow the sport back with all the corruption that they have. But in closing, thank you for everything. I appreciate y'all support, and thank y'all for listening to Sports with Ray. Yeah.